Galamera, Galamera, Galamera. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are we today? Well, as you can see, it's an absolutely lovely day here in Macardo. Just a few wisps of cloud in the skies. I can't believe it's the 5th of December. Can you? And it's looking lovely at the moment. So that's the view from over the back of the house area. If you can hear the sound of a trumpet, all right, playing in the background, it's our neighbour. He's been practicing the trumpet all day yesterday. Also, I noticed as well, his wife had gone out with the kids and he started up again. So if you can hear the dulcet tones of trumpet playing, that's our neighbour, Greek Air Force bandsman who's practicing his trumpet. He was doing carols last night, I think. He's probably getting ready for somewhere where they're going to be doing a little carol concert of some description. But anyway, this is the area round the back looking towards Laguna and also through towards Kalamaki, and it's looking absolutely glorious. So yeah, a lovely sunny day. Still no word on the oranges yet, but this is things on the homestead at the moment, looking absolutely lovely at the moment. Right, what's going on then? Well, there's been quite a bit going on in the last 24 hours. So I'll give you the stats on COVID. Give you a little heads up of things to come, as it were, and let's see what's happening. All right then, where's my thing? Let's just switch the screen round. Donna's tuning in. Nice to see you, Donna. Nice to hear. Also John Clifford is also tuning in as well. Nice to see you here, Doppia John. Right, let's just crack on with what's been going on within the last 24 hours. All right then, so it's now, as I already said, it's day 28 of the lockdown. It's the 5th of December and it is 2020 and it is a Saturday. All right then, so Greek Health last night said that there were 1,667 new cases of the virus in the country, which 9 were detected following entry points into Greece. The number of cases now stands at 113,185 since the start of the pandemic, of which 52% of that is men that have been affected. 612 people are being treated in incubations in ICUs at the moment. The average age of these people is 65. 175 of them are women, and the rest obviously are men. 76% of incubated patients have underlying diseases, are 70 years of age or older, and 635 people have been discharged from ICUs. So obviously the ICUs are still quite busy at the moment. Finally, just a quick note on the deaths. We had 98 deaths yesterday, which is a total of 2,804 since the pandemic started. 1,118 of those deaths are women, and obviously the rest are men. The average age for people passing away is 79, and 96% of those had underlying diseases or were over the age of 70. So there you go. That's the stats at the moment. Now, the Protection Minister, Nikos Hadialis, announced yesterday that anybody arriving at Greece's land borders who test positive for coronavirus will not be allowed to enter the country. Speaking during the regular press briefing about developments on the pandemic, Hariadis also said that the authorities will ban visits to monasteries of Mount Athos. So that's interesting. Don't fancy going to a monastery over Christmas. And both of these measures are to come into effect next week. Now, a little bit of a heads up was given as well. Now, this has not been confirmed it's going to happen. The only thing we know that's going to happen at the moment is that on the 7th of December, which is on Monday, the Christmas shops are going to open, and I'll come on to those in just a little while. However, it looks like the dates of the 11th of December has been discussed for hairdressers and beauty centres and beauty salons to reopen. So you can go and get your hair done, and I could do with my beard trimming before or on the 11th. Now, this is not confirmed it's going to happen. This is what's been muted at the moment. Anyway, it also seems that maybe 14th of December, when the lockdown is supposed to finish, all right, Retail stores such as toy shops, bookstores and florists, they are also expected to open. However, that is not 100% confirmed. They're going to confirm that later in the week, all right? But these are the dates that we're looking at the moment. So there's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. Anyway, at the moment, cafes and bars, no dates has been mentioned for them on the horizon. Only the wording, right, before Christmas. And also what was mentioned, if they do open, it will be strict rules of distancing and the use of outside areas will come into play. And again, this will depend on how the infection rate is going. Now, as for the Christmas shops that open at 7 a.m. on Monday morning, and they're allowed to be open until 8:30, you can go to the Christmas shop, and everybody's been worrying about what code number to put in on your SMS texting phone. It is obviously code number 2. Why people made an issue of that, I just do not know. However, you can complete a certificate of movement form or a handwritten certificate for a go to an in-store supply store for essential goods. All right. So if you're going to collect something from one of these places, like Welcome, who have got a delivery service, it looks like you can go and collect. All right. Now, opening hours are from 7 a.m. until 8:30 p.m. And it's mandatory that if you go to one of these Christmas shops, you must wear protective covering, obviously a visor or a mask when you're in there. Obviously, common sense there. Anyway, and also when you're in there, you've got to keep your distance. If you're going somewhere that's got an elevator or a lift, all right, you are not allowed to use the lift, all right? They advise you not to use the lift. If you do have to use the lift because you're somebody who is not fit and able to do so, then obviously only 40% of the occupation is allowed within the lift. So how big your lift is, 2 people, whatever. Okay. Now, if they've got escalators, escalators are not allowed to be used unless it's disabled or elderly people that are going to use it. I've just seen a little comment there, and I'm sure it's from John Clifford. What about massage parlours? Are they opening? Don't know about them, mate. We'll wait and see. They've been shutting the brothels down in Athens, that's for sure. Anyway, so the government has also decided to clearly define types of goods for sale for companies that can operate as purely seasonal. And whether this is a loophole, all right, Greece is great for loopholes, all right, as long as you're selling Christmas trees, retail sale of imitation Christmas trees, or you're selling festive Christmas items and Christmas lights, all right, you're allowed to open, all right? So we'll see how that plays out. Anyway, a little bit of also news from the president of the Commercial Association of Zakynthos, Lily Bozanu. She's been talking to the local press about the black situation that concerns local traders with the current lockdown position. This sees many of her members having their businesses closed and are at risk of during the lockdown, and asking for intervention from the Greek government to protect traders from going bust. Mrs. Bozanu pointed out that the problems are constantly multiplying for traders on our island, while expenses must be paid. Anyway, also at the same time, the Confederation of Greek Commerce has also intervened as well and requested ministers to apply protection of checks to wholesalers. Now, this is known as the 75-day new protection of business checks. Now, in Greece, if you're not aware of this, if you write a check and it bounces, it is illegal. We used to have a joke here when I first arrived on the island about the people who were going to spend time in jail because checks that they'd written at the beginning of the season were going to bounce at the end of the season when people come to cash them. Anyway, that kind of little loophole of using checks as cash as kind of not as prevalent as it is. However, companies still write checks to pay for stock. It is still an offence for a cheque to bounce. And so basically this 75-day protection measure means that people get in touch with their local bank. They tell their local bank which cheques they want covered so that they will get paid, and they get an extension of 75 days to obviously meet the balance, or for that business to have to wait until it receives its payment, which gives time for these businesses obviously to make other arrangements. But obviously the problem is at the moment some of these businesses are not seeing any help on the way, in the way of financial help from the government to help them stay afloat. So anyway, we're going to keep an eye on that little story because it is important. Another rather sad story as well, referencing the Greek power company, the PPC. They are cutting power supplies across the country for those people that can't pay. There was a story highlighted yesterday in the Greek press about a single parent family with 3 children who were left in the dark. The story was posted by the Parents and Guardians Association of the 91st Elementary School in Athens. Now, next to the hardship at home, the children also are deprived of an education, which means that the kids obviously can't join in classes that have been transmitted from their schools. And the problem is, if a child doesn't actually go online for a class, the child is technically classed as being absent from the school. So therefore, there is a danger that children that can't attend all the relevant classes could miss a school year and actually end up having to go back a year. Anyway, the association at the school called for its members to help out the family. There were further talks on social media yesterday about a case in the village of Rupodi, which is in northeastern Greece, where a family begged a man from the electric company to wait an hour before he cut the electric because his child was doing a school class at the time online, and obviously he wanted her to be able to finish her class before the family's electric was cut off. Anyway, the guy who had to go along and actually cut the electric, he was so upset about that he posted the story up on social media saying that he was ashamed that he had to do as he was told because it was his job. So of course there's people now demanding, and I do remember this during the 2008 2009 crisis here, where, believe it or not, here in Zakynthos, they were actually cutting people's power off literally on Christmas Eve, you know, before people were obviously going to celebrate their Christmas. People also have not had the same amount of money coming in throughout the season, and some people have only received a payment of a mere €500 since the beginning of the pandemic and the lockdown from the summer, and also from now has been going on. So there's a lot of people across the country who basically just can't afford to pay their bills at the moment, but the power companies are still wanting their money. So anyway, we'll keep a little eye on that story as well. And also another little bit of a depressing story, which I think should be highlighted because of the lockdown, is a businessman in Mania, which is not here in Zakynthos, but on the mainland. He shot his wife last week, along with in front of his teenage daughter. And this is the 9th murder of a woman in 2020 and the 4th during the lockdown. Now, speaking to media, relatives said that the 44-year-old woman was often beaten by her husband, that she was afraid to leave him because he would kill her. Anyway, media reported that the man as being mentally ill and medically needing treatment, and that jealousy was his motives. Now, neighbours stated that they were surprised because the couple always seemed to have a good relationship. Many of the family dramas that take place behind closed doors, and not every woman who falls victim to domestic violence has the courage to seek help. Now, it seems that 4,870 women last year were victims because they didn't complain of family violence in the home in Greece. And during the first lockdown in spring, calls for help to the SOS 15900 telephone support line increased by 230%. And according to the Greek police, 1,103 women reported violence to the police from March to May 2020. Now, if you're having any issues, or you may have known somebody who's having any issues, this lockdown has been the test of relationships. Obviously, with children not being able to go to school, they don't get out of, shall we say, a toxic environment. You can actually get support by phoning the SOS 15900 telephone support line. It is based obviously here in Greece, and they do speak English as well. And they are open 24 hours a day. And if anybody has any issues, any problems, feels they're at risk through domestic violence, or they have any other issues with alcohol, drugs, or anything else like that, they are an ear that you can go to and get some advice and get some help. And yes, if you are somebody who doesn't speak Greek, they will help you as well, because they also speak English as well. So anyway, once again, we'll keep a little eye on those stories, because I know we've got certain viewers who have worked in this field of domestic violence, and obviously it's nice to see that Greece is moving forward the same way that the UK has, shall we say, leapt forward in the last maybe 20 odd years or so. Anyway, let's have a quick look and see who's tuning in at the moment. Can I just say hello to Big Al Thompson? Lovely to have you looking in. Dennis Patrick Carroll, you're also tuning in as well. Nice to see you here as well, sir. Donna Harriatis is also watching. Lovely to have you tuning in all the way from sunny Brighton. Is it sunny this morning in Brighton, Donna, or not? It's certainly sunny here as well. Also as well, John Clifford is a magnificent spitting day. I play the trombone every morning when I wake up. I bet you do as well, John. Thank you for that comment. It's really quite funny. When I see the wife and kids going out, I know trumpet practice is on the way. He normally goes up to his brothers, but because of the lockdown, he's not allowed to go there. So I think his wife goes and takes the kids shopping for a bit to give him some practice time. But he was playing carols the other night, and they weren't that bad, actually, to be honest. He's getting there, you know what I mean? Anyway, Dawn Usher is also watching as well. Lovely to have you tuning in, Dawn. John Clifford says, comb your hair. Yeah, I know. I'm looking forward to the return of the hairdressers, hopefully, in the next week or so. Dennis Patrick Carroll over there in Cyprus is tuning in. Morning, Dennis. I hope everything's good where you are. Aaron Vardy is watching. Lovely to see you watching and tuning in. I know you've popped a few comments in further down, and I'll get to those. Stuart Butcher is also watching as well. Nice to have you as well. John Clifford says, wear a tie. Well, I'm trying to be casual. You don't see them wearing ties on the TV anymore, do you? Very rarely. It seems to be the new norm, not wearing ties. Glenn Fraser is watching as well. Emma Marku is watching. Lovely to have you tuning in all the way from Effort. Yes, it was John Clifford who said, when do the massage parlours open? Good question. I'll let you know as soon as I find out, all right? Graham Bint in Australia is watching as well. Lovely to hear from you. I heard that there's been some bushfires over there at the moment. I'm not sure if our Greek helicopters have been involved in those bushfires, but our helicopters from here go there for the winter, it seems, this year. So they're having a nice little bit of time away, as it were. And hopefully everything's all right where you are, big fella. Anyway, Alison Wharton is watching as well. Nice to see you. Alison Wharton says, it looks like a lovely day here. Yes, it certainly does look like a lovely day here. And it is absolutely gorgeous at the moment. And again, what about the massage parlours? Thank you, John. It's essential my trombone gets played. Sam Curtis is tuning in as well. Hello, Sam. Thank you for tuning in yesterday to the show. I greatly appreciated that. It was his final tuning in because basically he's got to go back to work next week because he works for the council in Brighton. You must hook up with Donna and say hello. She's a resident in... anyway, Donna, you've got a contact now in the council if you've got a problem. All right, there you go. Aaron Vardy says, good morning, Ginge. I will listen to your show, Sweet 16, to listen to your Sweet 16 tonight. Could I request a jukebox memory, Don't Give Up, by the late and great Peter Gabriel and Kate Bush? Ah, Ah, that's interesting. It's really funny because we played 2 tracks from Kate Bush on my last show, Cloud Busting and also Babushka as well, because I know a lot of people from my era were in love with Kate Bush when she first burst onto the scene back in the 1970s. So no problem at all. I'll stick that in my next broadcast, which will be next Wednesday in the Jukebox Memories. Thank you for that one. What about massage parlours? Thank you, John. Cash is king. Yeah, that is true. He's obviously talking about checks there in Greece. Christo is watching. Hello, Christo, mate. Used to work at Magdalena's. Then he was at Paradise. And then he went off to work in a posh hotel. Nice to have you tuning in. And happy birthday as well for the other day as well. He won't say how old he is, but he's not as old as me, that's for sure. Anyway, nice to have you tuning in, Christo. Alan Woodhouse is watching. Susie Angus is watching as well. Nico from the Obelix restaurant is watching. Nice to see you here as well, Nico. And I'll give Susie a wave as well. I must give Alan Woodhouse a wave. And I'll give Christo a wave back as well. Pam Stott is watching. Thank you, Pam. Eleanor is watching as well. Aaron Vardy says, Ginge, you provide a human element to your news bulletins. Oh, thank you for that. Very sad about the man having his electricity cut off whilst the child was doing an online lesson, and the domestic violence is you're a good man. Thank you very much. Well, these things need to be highlighted. We have a good friend of ours. She doesn't live here. She used to live here, but now is back in the UK. She does a lot of work for charities and fundraising. And when I'm talking fundraising, it's not rattling a tin, but going to big companies and doing, shall we say, the corporate level fundraising. And I know domestic violence is one of her sort of campaign crusades, getting money from big pharma, big companies to go towards financing certain charities that deal with that. So just thought I'd mention that as well. Anyway, Sam Curtis says, Ginge, thanks for the music, especially the birthday show. I look forward to seeing the music videos. Looking forward to seeing you guys either here in Brighton soon or next summer in Zante. However, he says, it's sunny, cold and crisp here today. Well, as long as it's sunny and it's cold, I don't mind that. I do like those sunny, cold, crisp days that you get in England where the sun shines nicely. But you've got no rain, all right? I'd rather that than horrible rain. Norman Hall is also watching as well. Raf Reg Buddy, nice to see you here. Matt Pritchard is watching as well. What? You're having one of them days today, John, aren't you? What about massage parlours? He says, I like Kate Bush. We all love Kate Bush. There you go. Steve Hodgson, hi, Ginge from Lugs and the concert crew. Not heard from you guys in a couple of days. These guys are firefighters up there in County Durham. Have you been busy? Have you been pumping out basements as well? I've got to be careful how I say that with John Clifford listening. Steve Hodgson is watching as well. So thank you, Steve. And Lugs from the concert crew, the firefighters. What are we doing today? Well, today's another day. I'm putting together this special show for my 60th birthday. I'm also putting together a show for my mum and dad, for my mum in the nursing home of Green Gables, a Christmas show. So I'm still waiting to hear back from them at the moment with more requests and dedications and stuff like that, ready to put that show together. So other than that, it's simply working the whole day through, trying to find lots of things not to do. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. I will see you again. You take care and have a lovely day. Oh, excuse me. Ta-ra. Now, when will those massage parlours open?